Hey, how's it going, everybody? Stock Catcher here. Today, SMX was just actually mind blowing. Today, the stock went to almost $200 a share. This stock was mentioned around $6. It was around the when the news came out, right? 6.50 or $6, and then today, it just had parabolic price action. And then I made many videos on it, almost every day, I think, right, regarding the multi-day setup. And then it played out exactly as the technicals showed, right? It was just really beautiful to see. And after a move like this, there's going to be a lot of FOMO. For sure, there's going to be a lot of people have FOMO, so there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the coming weeks, in my opinion, right? So I recommend you subscribe to the channel. I give a lot of trade ideas. And if you want more help, I do live stream every day from pre-market to after hours. I do technical analysis, entry, exit potentials, and I'm going to be adding more features as the time goes on, right? I'm just constantly trying to improve it for people, right? So today there's a lot of stocks to go over. Yesterday's video, there was nice plays as well, as you see here, as well as the day trade today was great as well. So first stock for the video would be, we have to talk about SMX, right? So SMX, this stock, which is actually just, crazy. So this stock, basically, if you look at the what the company does, essentially, it's pretty much a B2B technology company providing brand protection, authentication, or track and trace molecular identity, right? So this is pretty much like securities, the name itself, Security Matters public company. And then for context, this actually has really low float. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because it really doesn't really have to be a good company, or it doesn't have to be a very powerful news before a stock makes a big move up, right? Just based on the float as well as the micro cap. That's the biggest reason the stock made a huge move up, right? So if this stock had 100 million float, or if this stock had, let's say, like a very high market cap, I don't think, honestly, at all this would have happened. So is that something you really want to remember for the future? Maybe write it down or remember, because there's going to be a lot of plays that have this type of low float. So any stock under 30 million float is low float, in my opinion, right? Some people say it has to be under 5 million. Some people say 20 million. But me personally, I've been doing a lot of low float trading for a long time, and I think anything under 30 million is fine. Based on the price action, I see that it moves really nice, right? So SMX, this one, you have to watch that $200 psychological level. I do think that based on what I'm seeing right now, it could definitely break it, but we have to see what happens tomorrow, right? I'm looking at the daily chart. This actually has a gap, right? This has a massive potential, considering it did so many reverse splits. And I'm not saying that this should be a low risk entry right here, because obviously this stock goes from 6 to 200. That's gonna be very risky, right? But if you're trading with, very quick in and out, like smaller size, like hotkeys, again, not financial advice, but there could be opportunities for sure, right? So you want to keep this to your watch list right now, and really pay attention to it this month, right? So next stock would be RGC. So RGC, this is a stock that actually ran a lot. This was one that ran the most. I think it was like 86,000%. And you could verify yourself. If you Google RGC China stock, 86,000%. There was multiple news articles that talked about it. I believe Yahoo Finance, as well as there was like another news source that talked about it. So this actually did happen. So RGC is pretty much a Hong Kong-based bioscience firm focusing on traditional Chinese medicine. So this stock actually experienced also a 38-for-1 stock split. This was announced in June 2, as well as this also had retail interest with huge percentage moves. So this one, RGC, also, if you're talking about the small micro cap, I mean, in terms of the float, this also does fit that possible parabolic angle, right? If you verify yourself, this stock, the float right now is not low, right? But the flow is not low. But in terms of the structure, if you look at the daily chart, I was talking more about the range, right? I actually messed up. I meant the range, not the float. So if you compare RGC's range to SMX daily chart, this has massive range, considering these two price action has similar personality. If you compare how they moved in the past, right, you could verify yourself. Look at the big spikes in the daily chart. So this is one I'm going to be keeping an eye on, because this one actually did hit my scanner today, RGC. And I mentioned it early to the team, right? I mentioned it early to the team, and then I think some people actually took advantage of the breakout today. So RGC, this one actually also had, I'm looking at right now, they had multiple outlets reporting the massive year-to-date gains. So again, this is one I said earlier, but you have to keep an eye on, right, for the coming sessions. As well as if you look at more about it, they're targeting, it says that RGC is in that ADHD as well as autism related symptoms, right? So this is a very interesting sector. Next stock would be ABAT. So ABAT, this is a battery company that's been going on recently. The multi-day setup, if you look at the price action, it's been kind of curling over. So if you look at the business, pretty much this is a US-based battery materials company focusing on primary critical mineral exploration and extraction. So this actually has potential lithium, nickel, cobalt, that type of that sector, right? So this is something you have to really keep an eye on, especially if you look at the business model or possible recycling operations, right? If you're talking about them commercializing integrated lithium-ion battery, when you're talking about the recycling angle, or you're talking about the technology angle as well, right? Because the U.S. actually, the critical minerals as well as the EV battery supply chain, this is a really hot sector going for the coming months, right? I know that some people saw the pullback, but I don't think that, like I said, this is gonna knock away anytime soon, right? So next stock would be TNXP. So TNXP, this is another stock that's is really thin, and it kind of reminds me of RGC as well. It kind of reminds me of SMX in a way, right? You could verify yourself. Go to TNXP daily chart, and then you could see just the same similarities, right? If you go daily chart, this had massive range. When every time this move up is a big spike pattern, right? So right now it's kind of curling on the daily chart. It's really nicely breaking that downtrend, which is really nice when you're talking about daily extended time frame. You want to see a downtrend break because you don't want to buy a stock that's just continuously going to make lower lows, right? You know what I'm saying? So for TNXP, what it pretty much is, it's a bio company developing treatments for CNS as well as infectious disease and rare disorders. So TNXP actually also had, in this year, I'm talking about 2025, the FDA approval of Tanya for fibromyalgia related pain. So this company basically moved from the late stage trial into a more commercial launch phase, right? So this is actually TNXP's first approved commercial product. And if you're talking about the business or in terms of like the pipeline, right, you could talk about their central nervous system angle. There's also rare disease, neurodevelopmental, there's also infectious disease, biodefense. So this stock is really interesting considering it's a really thin stock as well. If you look at the volume lately, it hasn't really been that high. But if you look at the daily chart, again, when you're talking about swing trading, my videos are mainly for swing trading, right? These are not like scalps so you always have to check the daily chart. And then you have to pretty much not just draw out the resistances, but look at how much the stock can run based on the range and then compare it to the catalyst, right? Hope people understand what I'm saying, right? So next stock would be ATCH. So ATCH, this is a micro penny that actually hit my scanner. So if you look up ATCH, this is actually a stock that, again, made big moves in the past. And if you look at the potential business model, right, this actually has growth, where this stock actually used to growth levers, right? They used to scaling clearing volume as well as expanding stock loan and prime services. So this stock, again, this is in more of a technology or financial service type of stock. So it's not really the same as the other stocks have been ripping a lot lately. But the reason I like this stock, because the range as well, right? ATCH, if you go right now, what it's doing, the price action the past couple of days, it's in a very tight, like, kind of consolidation phase, which I do like. I am gonna do my research on the potential under $1 price range, because usually stocks under $1, you do have to check more of the filings, right, for reverse split. But I'm just making this video for right now, right, to keep on your radar, right? So this is one that's really interesting, ATCH. Another last stock for the video would be BQ. So BQ, this is a stock that recently has been constantly just hitting my scanner. I'm being honest with you, this keeps hitting my scanner. This is a Chinese stock. Again, if you go to daily chart, same situation, big range, big mover. in the past with setting up, right? So this is one that I'm gonna be adding to my watch list to see what's going on, right? Because usually with these China stocks, they be making, you know, very nice moves with no news. So that's pretty much for video, guys. I know that this week has been crazy, right, with SMX, but at the same time, it is kind of choppy, right? You know, sometimes you're gonna have stocks that just fall a lot, and then sometimes you're gonna see stocks like SMX just going up thousands of percent. So you always have to just manage your risk, in my opinion, and just try to, you know, get better a little every day, right? Everything, I mean, every trader, including myself, we're all just trying to, it's like a marathon, right? We're all just trying to improve every day, little by little. You know, it's not like one day or 1 week we're gonna, you know, change our life. It's not like that, right? So that's it for the video, guys. I'm gonna be seeing you in the morning. Let's have a great day tomorrow. Stock Catcher signing out, guys. Good night.